So,
the broadcast is now live.
hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Birth Your Vision podcast series. I'm your host, and today I am joined by the wonderful Dean Carby, who is actually the founder of Elite Vendors Network. Dean is an amazing young man who has actually done so much for the community of the event industry. And, Dean has been in the wedding and event industry for many years and he's made quite a fantastic name for himself as a DJ. And this has happened over the period of 10 years. And now is sort of doing AV and productions. And this is for predominantly African Caribbean weddings. And he's also an amazing founder of the Event Vendors Network. This is like an amazing network full of over 200 events specialists, professionals, from makeup artists to decorators to event planners, photographers, videographers, whereby they're able to actually come together and support each other and help each other grow. So today we're going to be focusing on weddings and their events and how COVID-19 has actually affected the event industry. So Dean will be joining me in the discussion, and I'm going to be adding him onto the Instagram platform as we kickstart the discussion. So welcome, Dean. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Thank you so much, Hannah, for having me. I am good. This is actually my first invitation to go live during this whole period. To be fair, I've had a few other people ask me, but it's the first invitation that I've taken. And I'm glad to be here with you, and I appreciate you having me on your platform.
Thank you so much for joining. So I'm about to add you to Instagram. So what I want you to do is to actually...
I've got my phone up there, my laptop here. So,
try to accept me as I'm inviting you to join me on Instagram.
Okay, this is on the Elite Vendors Network page, yeah?
Yes, it is, yes.
Okay.
Hi, Instagram. Today I am joined by the wonderful Dean Carby, who is actually the founder of Elite Vendors Network, and we're going to be having such a lovely discussion around weddings, how to postpone your weddings, how to speak to your guest about your dates and your venues, how to postpone your weddings, and so much more, all about the event industry. He has over 10 years experience, and he is an amazing events specialist. He works around AVA and productions, helping people, couples, everybody, in terms of creating a great wedding. So I'm just adding him to Instagram. So welcome to all our wonderful guests. Oops, how come I can't see you?
So if you go to Elite Vendors Network, I think
I should be able to add you on. I'm not sure why I can't see you. Okay, so actually join me on my Instagram, then maybe I could add you through there. Go to my live and see.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Okay, hold on.
Yeah. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome if you are joining me.
There we go.
Okay, thank you if you're joining me live on Facebook and Instagram, and also on YouTube as well. Welcome to all our wonderful guests. It's a pleasure to have you all join us today. Okay, so we're going to go live with Dean, who is from the Elite Vendors Network. Okay, hi Dean. So if you can just reduce your volume for me.
Yeah.
Fantastic, brilliant. Oh, awesome, fantastic. So let's kickstart. So welcome again to this platform. Thank you guys for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have Dean on board. He's going to be answering some of the questions that has actually come in around weddings, postponing, and looking for opportunities of how to speak to vendors, and also to share information with your guests who have been anticipating your wedding day. So welcome to today's discussion. Now we're going to be focusing on how COVID-19 has actually affected the event industry as well as the wedding industry, because there's so many people who have actually booked dates, They are super excited. Like, there's so many brides who are absolutely, excited. And, nobody anticipated that there's going to be an international lockdown and it's affected people all over the world. Okay,
Yes.
so it's really, really a tough situation to be in. So let's just kickstart and just get right into the question. So Dean, I know you've been in the event industry for over 10 years and you're fully
Yeah.
experienced and you have this amazing platform where you have so many professionals from the event industry where you help them on a weekly basis to provide support and encouragement, and you have a fantastic forum and helping them, especially during this season. So tell me about, what has actually kept you motivated for over 10 years doing the same thing and, birthing this wonderful network. Okay. So what has actually kept you motivated for so long? So share that with us.
That's a good question, though. What's kept me motivated for over 10 years? Well, you said doing the same thing, and I think one thing I actually haven't done is do the same thing. One thing I've constantly done is kind of evolved and adapted. I started literally 15 years ago as a radio DJ,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went into doing house parties, weddings, clubs, and then over the years I started hiring equipment, etc., etc. And over the years I started to meet lots of vendors in the industry. Some people who are now watching on Instagram, etc. Some of my friends, and what I realized that one thing I really loved about events was not actually necessarily how much money the people were spending or the big budgets or
Right.
whatever, like which was good, but it's actually just the people, just getting to know the people.
Right.
And I've just gotten to know about so many different cultures over the years. Like I'm from Caribbean background myself, Jamaican,
Mm.
born in the UK, but over the years I've learned about West African, South African, East African cultures, Asian, European, etc. And just hearing people's stories and seeing how I could tailor my music and my packages towards them, also always kept me motivated. Plus, I guess trying to be the best. Like
Mm.
I'm a competitive person, so
Wow.
I've always wanted to step up my game in some way, and I guess that kept me motivated, chasing getting
Mm.
to the number one spot or the top spot, or chasing chasing my personal best.
Mm. Fantastic. I like that. And I like that you've actually evolved and you've actually
Yeah.
thrived in your calling. And
Yes.
I wanted to know, in life, sometimes when we start things, we have challenges and obstacles that sort of hinders us to get to where we want to get to. However, if we are positive, if we are firm, and we believe in what we have, the dream and the vision, there is always
Yeah.
a way for us to overcome it. So share your challenges with us. What have you had to overcome within this 15 years of you being in the event industry?
So many challenges.
I could
So
imagine.
many challenges.
Yeah.
Challenges of um, not being ready for business, basically. You
Yes.
know, thinking that I guess being a bit naive,
Hmm.
thinking that things are really easy or simple, or that I was going to make loads of money really quickly.
Hmm.
Thinking that I guess just being able to maybe be friendly or smile at someone was going to get me success in the industry. And no,
Yeah.
it's a lot more than that. You need to as a business owner, and this is the one thing, because I do a bit of coaching with businesses as well, and
Brilliant.
I tell people that as a business owner, you actually have to stay on top of so many different things. Um,
Absolutely.
as like, so for example, as a DJ, the only thing I really had to kind of stay on top of was maybe my music,
Hmm.
um, knowledge of the industry, getting to places on time, making sure I had the right equipment, things like that. But then once you actually take that into a business,
Yeah.
you have to then start thinking about marketing, sales.
Branding and
constant revenue stream, profit and
yes.
loss. You can't just keep doing things as a favor for people, or someone says, I've only got £100. I'm a nice guy. Sometimes I wanted to do it for them, and I had to start getting a bit
a little bit more firm.
bit more firm with that. Also,
professionally.
Also accounts, planning for the future, HR, recruitment. There was just so many stuff, and actually a few years in, I started to really kind of started to all really get on top of me. It started to kind of drown me a bit, and I was doing okay. I was making money, and my name was out there, but I was just struggling to stay on top of so many things. It's like if I focused on one thing, something else would drop.
Yes.
If I started getting back to all of my emails on time, that means that I wasn't out networking, getting new business. So once I had responded to all those inquiries, or they had dried up, then I'm there thinking, where's all my clients gone? I've got no new leads coming in for the next 6, 12 to 18 months. So I started to really get focused on building teams. So nearly everything I start now, any project, any idea, any business, one of the first things I do right after I write it down or I try and implement it is build a team around it, because I want other people to help me with it, because
absolutely.
I know that I'm just a human. I'm probably one of the biggest liabilities to any of my businesses. I get tired, I get distracted.
Yes, we all do, don't we?
Yeah, and
we must stay on track.
I want to be able to have any organization I set up now has to be sustainable or consistent with or without me. So absolutely. That is what one of my biggest challenges is now. What I've turned into one of my biggest strengths, which is actually growing teams and being able to delegate different things around each idea that I have.
Absolutely spot on. I mean, I love the fact that you're able to now balance better. But when you started, it was a challenge because nobody really actually tells you how to run a business in a proper way. People gives you a little bit of hints there and there, but ultimately you figure it out yourself, and in figuring it out, sometimes we lose a bit of motivation and we lose a bit of confidence. And we sort of question our why am I even doing this in the first place again? So I'm happy that you're able to sort of look at where you're at and balance and then come back again. And now you're able to actually say that if I was going to run any business now, it has to be sustainable.
Sustainable.
Any business we run, it has to be sustainable. There has to be profit making. We have to be able to leverage, and also be sustainable and also let it run itself without us even having to be there. So those are the things that, makes the business stable and well balanced and much more structured. So now let's talk about the essential skills when it comes to event management. So many people are actually thinking about going into event management. Now, share some of the skills that you feel like you need to be able to get into the event industry.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to say to anyone on my Instagram live, I've got 2 screens here because Hannah is so clever that we're actually broadcasting straight to YouTube, Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So I've got my phone on Instagram here, my laptop for YouTube and Facebook right here. So sorry I'm not looking at you guys, but thanks for joining.
Okay. Yeah, so just before you answer that, I just want to welcome everybody again on all platforms. Thank you all for joining. Different platforms we're live streaming. This is an amazing topic. We're talking about the effects of wedding during the COVID-19 season. Many couples have had to postpone their weddings because of the high levels of restrictions that's been placed by the government in terms of not allowing people to gather together, and the recent lockdown as well. So if you're joining us, thank you so much for coming onto this platform. Thank you so much, Dean. Over to you.
Yes. Thank you. So I'm going to be honest, I forgot your last question.
Yeah, so the question was around the essential skills that you feel for anyone, for any eventpreneur who wants to actually start in the event industry, what
Yeah,
skills, what essential skills do they actually need to step into this kind of career?
that is a very good question. So what
Yeah.
skills do you need? Oh boy, there's so many skills you need, but
Mm,
I would say your probably your top three skills are gonna be people skills,
yes,
um,
indeed.
sales slash marketing skills. They're slightly different, but I will
Mm,
put that as one point, and kind of skills in determination and resilience. Because
absolutely, I agree.
if you're getting into the events industry, you're in an industry that
Mm,
has lots of competition.
very
You know,
competitive.
lots of competition. It's quite easy route to market.
Mm,
There's not really anyone, standing around waiting to give you
wow.
thousands of millions of pounds. You're gonna have to
Mm,
work your way up. Very few people have like managed to come into the game, and in less than 5 years they've made a massive name for themselves,
mm-hmm.
and they're getting paid exactly what they want to be paid, and um, you know they are really in demand. I think it takes roughly
Yeah.
5 years to build up your sales process, build up your name, learn
Yes.
from your mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
and then by the time, well, and then 5 to 10 years is kind of like refining that, and
Yeah.
then it's 10 years plus is, I think, getting into your proper groove.
Yeah.
It's a long time, and now being in business so long, I realize what a big achievement it is when companies reach
Mm,
20, 25, 30 years in business, because
yes.
it is not an easy thing. I would love to say
Absolutely.
that I would love to say it's easy, and it's getting easier. It's
Yeah.
getting easier with the amount of kind of coaches there are now, people that's willing to share information, which wasn't around when I was starting up with
Yeah.
technology, your social media, internet, your phone, how quick it is to kind of
Mm.
get into the game, get in business. Like, you can literally make a logo on your phone now, like
Yeah. You can do so
now,
much on your
and
phone.
then
It's unbelievable.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can just do it. So it is there's it's changed a lot, but because it's changed a lot, it also means there's a lot of competition. And I think
Yes.
one thing I hear a lot of event
Mm.
entrepreneurs complaining about is that no one's giving them a chance, no one's letting them in, blah blah.
Mm.
Like, this is not the game that anyone's just going to give you a chance just like that, because everyone is like, people will help you,
Yeah.
but no one's just going to say, here, like, here's a massive event with thousands of
Mm.
clients and thousands of
Yeah.
pounds to work on. Like, you have to build up that reputation, build up that name for yourself, and you actually have to prove to people that you're not going to mess up when you're given that chance as well.
Mm.
So I would say, like, business is easier in one sense, but to make a name for yourself is harder. And actually, one of my coaching classes, I went through literally
Yeah.
everything that goes into running my business, and
Mm-hmm.
at the end of it,
Yeah.
this is so ironic, but I was trying to encourage people, but then at the end of the 3 day course, one girl that I know, like, that came, one attendant, she ended up quitting her business because she was like, I didn't realize all this went into it.
Wow.
She thought that all she was a wedding planner, and she just thought that she was
Mm.
going to be able to choose a name, get an Instagram page, post some pictures on Instagram, and she
And
thought
that's
she
it.
was going to get clients. And that is just it's just not it.
Yeah.
It's just not it. So, like, fortunately, most of the other people that came did feel
Mm.
encouraged, but I never forget that story, because it made me think, wow, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
glad that my class actually had that impact on her, in the sense of
Exactly.
not wasting her time,
At
because she
time knowing.
she quit her job, like, she was all in, but she didn't realize that she actually had
Mm.
to work very, very hard to
Yeah.
get to where she wanted to get to.
Thank you so much for answering that. And that's exactly why I decided to ask you that kind of question, because often enough, people go into a certain kind of business because they see the beautiful side of it, the glamorous side of it, and the way people have actually created a buzz online. And so they feel like, actually, this is the kind of business that I really want to do or get into. But actually, when they get to the crunch of it, it's almost like, no, this is not for me, you know. And this is an example of that young person who came to your coaching program, and they've decided that actually this is more than I could chew. I am no
She went
longer
back to work.
interested. Yeah, indeed. So it's something that she has to now really think about and see whether or not she's actually ready to take another step again and see whether she can actually go and run with it. But someone just said on the group, someone said that their husband found it very difficult in the event industry, and it became so challenging. And so that, you know, Dean is absolutely right in terms of, you really need to be sure to come into this kind of industry because there is so many competitions. You know, it's a competitive industry.
Yes.
You really have to stand out. So we're talking about personal branding. You've got to stand out. There's got to be a distinguished difference between you and somebody who's doing something similar to what you're doing.
Yes.
You know?
Over the years, that's one thing I've managed to do over the years is stand out with whatever I do. So,
absolutely.
and I realized that recently that, you know, anytime I'm in an environment for a certain amount of time, I start to spot the trends, the patterns, and, you know, the kind of commonalities, what everyone else is doing. And then that's when I usually, you know, go off on a little bit of a tangent, you know. So I'll give you some examples of that. You know, when I was in uni, I became one of the first Jamaican DJs to start playing Afrobeats. Like this was when Afrobeats wasn't as popular as it is now. And it was still it wasn't definitely nowhere near commercial. It was still quite new. And I started to play that, and I started to really make a name for myself amongst, you know, especially West Africans. And they're like, "Oh, you must be from our country." And I'm like, you know, I'm actually not from your country, but I know how to play. I know how to play your music. You know, and I started through that. I started to learn like the cultural and kind of traditional.
Indeed, absolutely.
You know, ways that you need to act, ways that you need to greet people, food that they ate, and all that kind of stuff. And I started to learn it. So then that was one way I got in. And then when I was doing lots of Nigerian weddings, I noticed that a lot of DJs, they would play good music, but their staging or their table just looked terrible. They would just have cables everywhere and stuff. So I started to introduce DJ booths and like white speakers and make it look really slick and light and stuff like that. So now, fast forward a few years, you know, now, you know, one of my companies, we do big productions, we do staging, we do lighting, we do dance floors. And I was one of the first people, again, to introduce that whole thing into the African wedding market in the UK.
Right.
And so through that, that's where I began to start the Elite Vendors Network by meeting so many people in the industry, having a chat, listening to them, finding out what their issues are, finding out what the problems are. One issue I found is that a lot of people felt quite isolated once they started business. You know, because especially if you're coming from a job, and with me, I started my business straight out of university, but some people are coming from a full-time career in whatever, and they start their company, they start literally working at home by themselves every day on their laptop, maybe with their children, maybe with their partner, but a lot of the time it's just them by themselves. And then they even though there's like thousands of other people that do what they do, they felt isolated, they felt quite alone. So that's one of the reasons why I set up the network, because I was like, okay, cool, well, there's like, you know, 10 people that do cakes, there's like 10 people that do decor, there's 10 photographers, 20 videographers, there's like 50 DJs. Let's bring them all together to one group. Even though they're like competitors with each other, they can still end up supporting each other. And if someone needs something last minute, there's like some information that we all need to know, like, I don't know, there's like a big protest or march in central London and it's gridlock. There's no way we can there's no way we can drive in there quickly. It's good to just let your colleagues know that, because it will help them prepare their day or their week or whatever. So yeah, I just started to notice the little gaps that there are, and I'm pretty good at spotting gaps in different industries as long as I'm in it for a little bit. So I think
Yes.
that's one skill that I don't know if
Mm,
you can learn that skill, but I'm sure you can, or maybe through coaching or mentoring, you
yeah.
start to see every single industry is missing something. There's something that the people in that industry complain about, they're not
Yeah.
happy about, they want
Mm,
more of, they want less of. If you can help people with that, then you are on your way to standing out, and getting some kind of success
absolutely.
in that industry.
Indeed. Yeah, just add to what you were saying. I think creativity is absolutely important for you to be actually creative when it comes to event industry. And that really helps you
Yeah,
to kind of stand out. And also knowing how to do some form of problem solving, because you have people who have problems in terms of what decoration to use, what colors, what scheme. And so you should be able to actually help them to put,
yeah,
different things in place, such as, identifying the gaps. Very great skill
yeah,
that you also have. Okay. And
yeah,
also negotiating and multitasking, because there's quite a lot to do, and also learning to delegate to your team as well. I think those are key things as well when it comes to event management as well. Now, someone is actually
exactly.
saying, and they actually want to know whether you've actually had your hair cut, or whether this is actually a skill that you've actually done. So there's some funny, so there's some funny comments going on. Somebody wanted to
That's
know.
so funny.
Hmm,
Who asked that?
I won't share the person's name. So thanks
All
for
right, so
putting a smile on our face. So the person said, Dean has been to the barber shop. How?
yes, so that's actually another skill that I've
You see?
learned during this lockdown. So
Yeah.
I've learned to cut my own hair, and I actually cut my hair earlier today, and
That
I
looks
I, I
amazing.
shaped up my thank you. I shaped up my beard. Like, it's not as good as what my barber would do, but it's good enough, and it
Very decent
makes
and very neat. Absolutely.
thank you. And I was just saying to the leadership team that I don't know if my barber is going to see me again after this, or maybe not very often,
Often, yeah. I
because
think
like
he's really done a great job,
because
to be honest.
I haven't been there in like over 2 months now, and
Yeah.
at first it was a bit dire, and I put a few things on Instagram, a few funny videos, just saying
Yeah.
like I'm just so appalled with the way my hair looks. But now, it's
Yeah.
not too bad. It's decent,
Indeed. You're
you
getting
know.
quite a lot of a round of applause and like a wow. Can people give him hearts and thumbs ups? If we have
What
that
the,
on Instagram. Oh, lots of hearts. Everybody's happy with your hairstyle and the fact that you've actually
thank
used the
you.
skill, which is amazing. And we all
Yeah,
have
yeah,
different skills. So my skills is multifaceted, right? I'm good at doing my hair,
yes,
at doing my own makeup, dressing myself in a fashionable way. I'm good at doing this, presenting, something that I've always done,
yes, you are.
and all these things is all part of you being able to actually leverage it. We can do
Yes,
so much. It's unbelievable. Some of our skills has actually come out during this season. So many people have
exactly.
kept their skills. They've been procrastinating for God knows how long, and
Yes,
all of a sudden you can see so many people showcasing all their talents and their skills on
yeah,
internet.
yes,
So at the end of the day, did it have to take, this season for your skills and your talent to come out? So it's something that we can
yes,
actually reflect on, and
yeah, definitely.
give ourselves a
Yeah,
little bit more push and do
yeah,
things that we need to do as of when we should do it. What do you think about that?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
So, I started to actually journal all the things that I've learned during this
good.
time,
That's
and
amazing.
there there were things that I was doing before,
Yeah,
but it wasn't to the extent I'm doing now. So, like, even going live on Instagram,
exactly.
going live
Yeah,
on our weekly Zoom sessions, like the things I've learned online in the last few
online things that
weeks.
you wouldn't do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it's just not what I would have done before, and that's so I've been very grateful for this time. And like, I've
Yeah,
I've lost thousands, like tens of thousands of pounds in business
I can
in the
imagine.
last few months for the first
Mm,
time ever. Like, it's just never happened, like before. But in that time, I was like, first of all, I was just kind of catching up on sleep and stuff for a bit. I'm not gonna act
yeah,
like I'm not gonna
Indeed.
act like I was on this like super productive stuff every
Rest,
single day. Yeah,
rest
yeah,
was
yeah.
one of
I was like,
um,
hold on. If I want to, I can nap during the day, and it's okay. No one's gonna
mm,
tell me it doesn't mean anything. Like before,
absolutely.
I would have felt so guilty to like take a nap when I've got clients waiting. I've got quotes that need
Mm,
to go out. I've got invoices that need to be paid, and there's
yes,
things that constantly need to be done when you're running a full-time events company. Like,
indeed.
this it's one of the, I would say it's up there, one of the most challenging businesses to run. Like, I think they put
Mm.
event planner in like the top 5 stressful jobs in the world,
It is.
because
It is. I absolutely
it's
agree. It is.
yeah,
You're
because
carrying
it
so much weight and you have to
yeah,
deliver.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's antisocial hours.
Yeah.
You have to be creative on
Yes.
sometimes quite small budgets.
Mm-hmm.
You have to deliver perfection.
Indeed.
You
In
know,
such a short time
like
sometimes.
this thing, this thing of perfection
Mm,
is like the thing that people want, something perfect, and
yes.
they're literally only paying you a few £1,000s, and I can't
Mm,
blame them for it.
yeah.
But it's like, I was watching a reality show last night about property in like California or Florida or something,
Yeah.
and they were selling like £12 million properties, and it wasn't even perfect. They were just like, the woman complained about the flooring in the house,
Yeah.
and then she was like, well, the salesperson was like, well, you can get it changed or something yourself.
Mhm.
If that was the equivalent in the events industry,
Yeah.
we would have to deliver this pretty much perfect product or
Yes.
package. So over the years, again, that's been another thing that has been like,
Mm.
I've had to get better at delivering at delivering better, instead of
And it's stage
some of
by
the
stage, and it
yeah,
takes
yeah, yeah. Instead of some of the struggles that I had when I first started. But
absolutely.
back to your original question, is like, yeah, I usually and quite constantly adapt. So
Okay.
I've just adapted to this time. I've got my ring light here. I've
Yes.
got I've got my 2 screens on my desk. I've got things that I wasn't necessarily doing before,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, there's lots of things I can list, but in terms of in this, for time reasons, we can keep it moving to the next question.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, we've had to actually adapt to the virtual lifestyle, actually,
Yeah,
putting our businesses online and learning how to use various apps and different, kind of video conferencing apps, trying to do so much to be able to
yeah,
continue running our business, which is amazing, to be quite honest. So tell me
yeah.
about, your view in terms of what do you think makes a successful event?
That's a good question. I think what makes a successful event to me is all of the vendors or suppliers working in harmony or synchrony. So it doesn't necessarily need to be lots of money or lots of people, or
Yes.
lots, doesn't need to have lots of, like, all the bells and whistles, fireworks and stuff like that. But as
Yeah.
long as whatever it is that was planned is right for that client,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone delivers on time, everyone does their job, does what they need to do, and everyone knows what
Yes.
what their role is in relation to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really makes a really good event, because sometimes it's just not flowing. Things are not flowing together. I've been to all
Absolutely.
sorts of I've been to all sorts of events, but I find that the best ones are the ones that just kind of, I guess, meet the brief, and they
Yeah.
work in, and everyone that's working works in synchrony.
Fantastic. I think that's absolutely right. When it comes to event, it's all about teamwork and knowing how to actually delegate, so that
Yeah,
everybody
exactly.
has an understanding of exactly what they need to do.
Yeah.
Let's look at some of the questions. So um, someone asked a question in regards to weddings, and now they want to know about how to actually postpone their wedding dates, and also how to speak to, different venues about the dates. So,
Okay.
so one of the question is around. So number one, let's just look at how COVID-19 has actually affected the wedding industry. So you just tell me about what has been the challenge currently and how this has actually affected many people.
Yeah. So there is, I think the events industry is probably one of the first industries to be affected, by this to the extent it was, because there's no event industry really without
Mm,
socializing. Like an event is like, I guess, two people or more, right? So
yes,
you need
indeed.
to, yeah, you can't really do an event by yourself. So, you know, everything that we knew as our regular standards in events, it
Yeah,
just kind of it just got destroyed. Like
absolutely. Yeah,
people obviously quite quickly started to not want to be around other people, being
yeah.
very wary of how close they got to other people,
Mm-hmm.
etc. So I do weddings and I also do corporate events,
Yeah.
and I was exhibiting at the National Wedding Show back in February with my fiance, and the corona. I think that was like mid Feb, like February the 14th to 15th,
Okay.
and so that was like just about 1 month before lockdown, and it started to appear in the news about this virus that was getting that's starting to spread across the world. So
Absolutely.
I remember us having like a hand gel and washing our hands quite
Yeah.
frequently
And there was no
there.
tissues in the shops, were they?
Yeah, exactly. I remember that, but then everyone was still getting quite close to each other. It wasn't something that
Yeah,
was on the forefront of everyone's mind. But
indeed.
then basically, like a month later, one of my corporate clients, I work with a private members club. I do like 4 events with them a week. They just, I just got an email saying all of our events are cancelled this week, and they're going to be cancelled until further notice. And
Yeah.
then some of our wedding clients that thought that they were still going to be able to like have a choice to do their wedding or not, like at the beginning of March, they were still deciding whether it was going to be up to them if they went ahead or not. They started to just postpone. They started to cancel everything. That came to basically a
Mm,
full stop by mid. I'll say like the third week of March, and
wow.
then it was like it was just surreal. Obviously, none of us have been in this position before.
Indeed, I could imagine.
I have a warehouse and an office and a few staff. But then I know people that have massive warehouses, like
Yes.
60, 70 staff, and then everyone was just in the same position. Like
Yeah.
everyone has had to come to a halt. I heard about companies shutting down immediately, firing all their staff straight away.
Wow.
I was a bit more, I guess, a bit more slow to make a decision. I was saying, okay, I'm going to see what happens. I didn't know whether we were going to be back by
Mm,
now, by June, July, you know, or if it was going to be 2021. Obviously, at the moment, it's looking like 2021. I think before we start doing regular events to what we know events to be. Obviously, people are doing small gatherings now, social distance gatherings,
yes.
obviously online gatherings, but I
Yeah.
don't. I think it's going to be basically 2021 until we can get
Get
back
back
to doing
to, yes.
events as what we know them to be. So,
Mm,
in terms of the person asking what should they do to, they basically just, I think it's just sensible to postpone
indeed, yeah.
most events until 2021. You might be able to get a few in for November, December this year, maybe,
Maybe,
and
yeah.
then then obviously on those dates you just want to make sure that you're not double booking. You want to make sure that the venue's
Mm,
got stuff available, spaces available on the date, and you just want to just try and again work in synchrony with all of your other vendors, everyone involved, to see hopefully if they can all reschedule to the same date.
date. Okay. fantastic. And then another question is around the vendors. So, you have so many professionals in your network at the moment, the EVN network. And this
Yes.
is actually made up of makeup artists,
Like
videographers,
yourself, yes.
like myself. I'm actually part of this wonderful event. And also, they offer so many different services. And obviously, this pandemic has actually affected them. So, how are they actually navigating and pivoting currently?
Yeah. So, I don't speak to, like, we got almost 200 people in the network, and I
Yes.
don't,
Mm,
so we got over 200 to be honest, but
yeah.
I don't speak to every single person in the network, but the majority of people look like they've either adjusted their business
Yes.
um, to maybe make some other income. Like I was just talking to a caterer
Mm,
that's within our network,
yeah.
Becky from Becky's Catering. She is now starting a soup delivery service,
That's
as well as
fantastic.
like soup and stew, like to your
Yes.
front door.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen photographers doing like shoots from afar, like maybe
Okay.
taking people to a park and like doing shoots from far away, or even
Right.
offering an editing service for people's old pictures. Like you might have got your pictures like 5, 10 years ago. Your
Okay.
photographer your photographer might have not been that great at the time, or just of a lesser quality than now. So I've seen
Mm,
photographers trying to revive people's pictures and make them brighter, more enhanced,
right.
etc. I've seen someone in our group, saxophone. Saxophone Jones, Jermaine.
Yes.
He's actually been going and playing the saxophone in people's front gardens for like happy birthday and stuff like that. I've
Amazing.
seen
That's awesome.
people making cakes and cupcakes for the NHS or for like a
Yeah.
delivery service. Crystal from Just Like Mummies, she is
Mm,
offering a cake in a box service. So if you got your birthday or one of your children's birthday and you can't get a professional birthday cake and you don't want to risk making a terrible one yourself,
yeah.
she will actually send you all the ingredients,
Wow.
everything you need in a box to your
Boss.
front door,
I love that
and
idea.
you can you can make the cake yourself at home. Hopefully, it will come out just nearly as good as hers. So
Wow.
people, as humans, um, we naturally adapt to our environment, and
Absolutely.
although this isn't the perfect scenario,
Yeah.
and all of us want to get back out there to what we know as the normal,
Mm.
a lot of people have pivoted. Even DJs have been doing
Little
Zoom
Zoom
parties
parties. Yes.
and getting paid. Like people are actually getting paid to DJ
Yeah. To host
on
a Zoom party.
Zoom for other people. Another DJ, sorry, it's all coming back to me now. Another
Yeah.
DJ in my group, Curtis, Mr. White, he put on an all day event from like 2 p.m. to like 3 a.m.
That's
and it was
incredible.
all on Zoom, and it had 4 different rooms. It had 2 rooms of DJs on Zoom, a
Wow.
cock a cocktail making class,
Right.
and one room that had like children's games and stuff like that.
Wow.
So like we all didn't know, well, I
Mhm.
didn't know that this was all possible, you know.
Yes.
And what we are doing as very like entrepreneurial, ingenious and creative people is that we're just trying to make the best of this situation. See,
That's right.
there's not one person I know that is like making the
Mm.
same amount of money or even close to the same
Yeah.
amount of money as
Mm.
they would have been making this time in 2019. But
Yes.
people are doing the best they can to not only help themselves but to help others. Like as
Others.
once again,
Yes.
the DJs right now are like so key to
Mm.
keeping people connected, keeping people sane and entertained.
Absolutely.
Because although these obviously conference webinars and stuff are good,
Mm.
there's nothing like music and a party and seeing
Yeah.
people dance and sweat
Exactly.
and
That sort of
and
one-to-one contact.
yeah,
Yes.
and sing along to music. And music is the one thing that can just bring like hundreds or thousands of people together just at
Yeah.
once. So it's like the DJs have done so well. There's a few DJs in the Elite Vendors Network that I need to shout out, including Milk Tray, DJ Francis,
Yes.
DJ Emery, and more. They've really been creating the party atmosphere, but online.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm so happy to hear that. I also
Yeah.
saw someone else who was actually part of the EVN, fantastic bridal hairstylist. She was actually running bridal hair training online. And I also do something quite similar, but her level is
Okay.
just incredible.
Yes.
I've seen so many creative artists who are doing some great stuff. Even makeup artists, you can actually train people online and charge them for a good minimum fee, and they would actually,
Yes.
pay for that service as well. So I think as humans, we can actually adapt to thrive. And this is what the
Yes.
program is all about, looking for ways
Yes.
to adapt, when we are faced with unprecedented time, when we are faced with uncertainty, what can we do? We have to think outside of the box totally.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
even though we're not making as much as we were making, like you've mentioned, but we're actually looking for ways to add value to people's lives and also learning new skills, to be able
Yes.
to improve ourselves when all this, comes to an end. So it's really
Exactly.
nice to really hear that actually. So
Yeah, look,
let's
can I just say, can I say one
yeah.
thing on that actually?
Mhm.
One thing I would say, and one reason that I've come to lead this network is because unlike a lot of other people, I actually love
Mm.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are what keeps me inspired, what keeps me motivated, what keeps me entertained. I have so many conversations. I check out people's social media, and I just
Yeah.
think it's just like everything we've seen over this time, from people come like yourself becoming like, like almost daily or weekly
Mm.
hosts on the internet, people doing like the Don't Rush challenge or other things
Mm.
that bring us together.
Indeed.
It's just so ingenious. And I think, this is definitely not the best time in our lives, but what we've seen during this time is just
Mm.
been fantastic. And it's one of the directions I'm taking the Elite Vendors Network in now, actually, which is
Yeah.
I've seen how well, this it was kind of an idea that was stimulated more by this lockdown time, but I've noticed before how many people can teach. Most of us
Oh
have
yes.
something have something to teach,
Yes.
and the Elite Vendors Network platform is actually
Mm.
developing into becoming a portal
Good.
for vendors of all types in the industry teaching
Fantastic.
classes. Obviously
Wonderful.
we're used to photography classes, we're used to
Mm.
kind of makeup classes and stuff
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
We used to like maybe cake or floristry classes, but there's so
Absolutely.
many other people that could teach classes too. Like, for example, someone in my leadership team, Joseph,
Yeah.
he
Hmm.
he he runs a photo booth company. He could run a
Yes.
class on how to set up your photo booth for optimal
Absolutely.
results. I can do a tutorial on showing people how to build a stage for fit for purpose.
Yes.
Um, and there's more. There's just
Mm.
all of us have something in us that
Yes.
someone else would love to learn
Yeah.
in the exact way that we do it. And this is where the EVN is going now.
I love that. And you know what? To all our amazing viewers, you're hearing it here first on the All Women's
Yeah,
Network platform. EVN is going
yeah.
to have
This
an
is
amazing
actually
portal.
the first place I said it. Yeah,
Breaking news. So
yeah,
EVN is going to have an amazing portal that is going to be filled with incredible online courses, okay,
yes,
training workshops that you can actually take and learn and master a new skill and turn it into a profit making business. And I
exactly.
know that me and you, we had a quick discussion about moving forward and thinking outside of the box and looking for ways to actually monetize and be sustainable. And I love this idea that you've actually come up
Yes,
with, because it's
yes,
absolutely brilliant. It's
yeah,
about working smart, and this is going to be amazing because you have so many fantastic professionals in the event industry on this platform who are ready to
yes,
teach. We are all educators,
yes,
we are all incredible in our arts and our crafts, and we would love to teach. I love to teach. I'm an educator. That's what I do. you know,
Yes.
and it's just phenomenal that you've just said that. So you've all heard it first on this
Right here
platform.
on the All
Right
Women's
here.
Network,
Breaking
baby.
news. Absolutely. Incredible. So let's talk about how, you know, couples can actually communicate, you know, with wedding vendors, because some people may feel a little bit intimidated and a little bit scared or worried. So how can they find their voice in terms of communicating with the wedding vendors, especially during this time, actually?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So I would say definitely via social media, via email, and obviously
Yeah.
you can pick up the phone. If
Mm,
any uh, couples, engaged couples right now are watching this and they're having any issues contacting any particular vendors, they can contact the Elite Vendors Network, and then
fantastic.
we will reach out to that vendor for them. We have good relationships with a lot of vendors in the industry,
Brilliant.
and if they send us an email to contact@elitevendorsnetwork.com, then we will reach out to a particular vendor in the industry. And this is obviously this is another direction we're going to be going in, because
Good.
we realized over the years, again, we've realized that uh, there's actually some clients that need really to someone to help them contact some vendors, especially when things go
Mm,
wrong. Yeah,
yes.
so we've over the years we've unofficially offered a bit of a conflict resolution service,
Okay, that's
because
good. Yeah.
some vendors and some clients just cannot see eye to eye. And
Yeah.
obviously, in the events industry, we don't really have any kind of board or kind of ombudsman service, or
Right.
anyone you can go to really
Mm,
complain.
okay.
The only thing people obviously end up resorting to is going to like small claims court or
Mm,
suing or whatever. But we believe that through the network we can actually reduce that whole scenario. You know,
okay.
we before it gets as bad as that,
Mm-hmm.
just need someone like myself or someone in my leadership team to just call both people and say, okay, you know, you're being heard. This is a solution that we think you can provide. And obviously, it's up to, no, we're not going to force people to do anything, but it's up to them if they want to
Yes.
take that advice. And then after that, if that doesn't work, then maybe it will go further down legal proceedings. But I think over the next 12 months, we're going to see a lot of disputes and disagreements in the
Mm,
industry
absolutely.
because of postponements, because
Yeah.
of refund and cancellation policies,
Yes.
because of businesses even closing down.
Yes.
Unfortunately, people are going to go into administration, people are going to liquidate, and some clients are potentially going to lose their money.
Mm,
So there's going to be like, and I don't think it's any fault of the vendor, and I don't
mm,
think it's any fault of the client. Like, but I think people just have to understand that this is the first time any of us are going through this situation.
yeah.
So
Indeed.
there has to be a certain level of understanding,
Mm,
empathy, sensitivity, and hopefully, some way to come to an agreement during this very difficult time for both the business owners and the clients.
absolutely. I'm really loving these ideas, Dean. This is really amazing. It's about finding a solution to a problem. And that's what the world needs. If you can find a
Yeah,
solution to a problem, then you've actually nailed it. And I think this is definitely key,
thank
especially
you.
now where there is so many, different challenges that people are actually going through and they're facing. And
Yeah,
in order for you to kind of help and resolve it for them, you've actually gone ahead and think about, okay, let's put together something that would help them in terms of conflict resolution, how to help
yeah,
both parties to move on and to help them solve any issues, which is really
yeah.
amazing. And I really do agree with that. That is really, really awesome. And
Thank
so
you.
let's talk about, how would you sort of advise an eventpreneur who is actually thinking about um, running their own group, because you have a massive network of over 200 members.
Yes,
What advice would you give them? Because I know it's not been easy, and it's really challenging running and managing such high levels of professionals. and you've had some great times, you've worked together as a team, you've had some successes, you probably had some fallout. So if anybody's actually thinking about running a group like yours, any advice that you would give them?
Yeah, that's another really good question. I would say it's probably the same advice as I would tell someone
Yeah.
who's starting their events business. You need to build a team.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be patient. Don't
Yes.
expect things overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to also not take everything that everything that someone says to you personally. Because I've had people say a lot of stuff to me over the years as a DJ, as an AV guy,
Mm.
as now the leader of this network. And I've just really realized that, sometimes people don't even remember some of the stuff that they say.
Yeah.
It might just be a moment, it might be
Mm.
something they're going through personally. So again,
Yes.
in that kind of same vein of understanding and empathy, if you're trying to lead any group of people, whether it
Yeah.
is that you've got two people in your office or 200 people in a group, like there's always going to be various opinions, perspectives, points of view,
Mm.
and people's going to have their own individual situation. So it's
Yes.
just got to be as kind of understanding and caring as possible without
Mm.
letting everything that someone says to you get to your
Affect you.
head and to your affect you, get to your head and to your heart. Because
Absolutely.
and most successful entrepreneurs, you will
Mm.
see that they built up some level of thick skin or resilience. Because
Yes.
if you're someone that if you're someone that if every word is gonna break your
Mm.
bones, then you're probably not gonna last very long in business or last very long leading a group of people. Like it's never easy to stand up and say, hey, like, guys, I'm the leader, or I'm gonna take responsibility, or I'm gonna
Mm.
be at the front of the room. Like
Yeah.
it's actually easier to be part of the crowd and just be opinionated and complain and
Mm.
say like how you wish things would be, or how terrible things are, or dwell on the past, or whatever. So I would just say, you know, build a good, reliable team. I would
Yes.
always say, know that you are a liability. you know, you are a
Mm.
liability. You're human. You're gonna feel
Yes.
tired. You're gonna feel sick. Someone's
Yes.
gonna call you with an emergency. There's gonna be traffic on the road. You're gonna get there late. Like, build a team that is more reliable. Well, I won't even say more reliable, but I'll just say as reliable as you, if not better. Yeah. Also, and then don't take everything that someone says to heart, because you're gonna spend a lot of nights lying awake looking at the ceiling if
Mm.
if that's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better than what you've actually said, which is really amazing. And I think it's about sort of being strong, being transparent, and, saying what you mean when you
Yeah.
mean it, and just being honest, really. It takes a lot of
Yes.
courage to be able to run a group. And it takes a lot of
Yeah.
understanding, because we all have different temperaments, and
Yes.
understanding each other and always finding a balance to move on. And don't
Yes.
think that you're too big to apologize to anybody,
Yeah.
and let the foundation be respect and love, and just great supportive network, which is really key.
Yeah. I love that,
Yeah.
actually. That's
Yeah.
that, that's actually a great point about
Mhm.
humility as well. You have to
Yeah.
definitely be if you're gonna lead, like any time I put myself in a leadership position, it's not
Mm.
from a place of arrogance or ignorance.
Yeah.
It's from a place of more like courage and bravery, and
Mm.
I think I've got this, so I think I can do this. But
Yes.
you have to be humble enough to listen to
Absolutely.
your your team's ideas and
Yes.
the ideas of anyone you're leading. It doesn't mean that you're going to take every single idea that they give you, but
Mm.
you at least should have actually have an open ear to it, because you never
Fantastic.
know what it could what it could spark in your own mind.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Just looking at the questions briefly as we are rounding up this wonderful segment. We can talk for days, you know. It's been
We
really
can
amazing. It's been really amazing having you on this platform. It's been an amazing interview, actually, and I'm sure you've actually enjoyed it. Someone said, "What are your magic formula to succeed in the event industry?" I think you've covered that really. We've talked about creativity, we've talked about adapting, and also about productivity, time management. Anything you
yeah,
wanted
and
to
I
add?
would just I would just say one thing to anyone
Mm,
looking to start in the events industry.
yeah.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with a caterer earlier today, actually, and one thing I said to them on the phone was, as I said earlier in the conversation, I've spent a lot of time getting to know, like, I guess, especially West African culture, because
Mm,
that's a lot of the events that I've done, from
yeah.
Ghanaian to Nigerian to Sierra Leone, Gambian, etc.
Yes.
And a lot of the people from those places say that their parents would have wanted them to only really be one of four things. It's like a doctor, a
Hmm.
lawyer, an engineer, or I forgot the fourth one, but it's one of those things, yeah, like doctor,
Yes.
lawyer, engineer, or something on that level of education, yeah. So I would just say, if you are gonna get into a business,
Yes.
what you should actually do
Uh,
is
sorry, it shows that you've actually left the Instagram, so I'm
that
gonna re-add
business.
you again.
Oh, oh, one,
Yeah.
one second, one second.
Yeah. So accept me back. Yeah, you were
Whoops,
back on
hello.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I hope it didn't.
I would say if I would say
Okay.
if you're gonna get into a business,
Mm-hmm.
oh, sorry,
That's okay.
let me see if I can join you again. I think the hour's over on there.
Yeah. So
But
it's now telling me to share it. So I'm going to share it very quickly. However, we can
okay,
carry on this platform. That's okay. We have so much great content. So carry on.
yeah, thank you. I would say just just as you would to become a doctor, engineer, lawyer, or any other
Mm.
quite respected career,
Yes,
or go into those kind of industries, you
indeed.
should study for the same amount of years for your business. So you might not necessarily need to study for 7 years or 5 years before you start it,
Mm-hmm.
but while you're running the business, keep investing in your education. And I'm not just talking about, like, obviously these sessions are great. Like, all the free learning that we've had over this lockdown period has been amazing. People have been giving away hundreds of thousands of pounds of
Mm.
information for free.
Fantastic.
But
Brilliant.
if if like going forward, like if you're new in the game or you've been in the game for 2 to 3 years or whatever length of time,
Yeah,
keep investing in your education on a yearly basis and be intentional about it. Say
absolutely.
every year I'm going to put away £500,
Mm.
£2,000, or whatever to study, to get in the room with new people, to learn new information. And then
Yes.
sometimes people are like, "Oh, I learned that already." No, you haven't learned it already. You heard it
Mm.
once,
Yeah,
but just because you heard it once doesn't mean that you've learned it. Sometimes it takes
exactly.
sometimes it takes 2 to 3 to 5 to 10 times of hearing a
Absolutely.
message before it actually sinks in.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you would have paid for your to become a doctor, or for your engineering degree, it could be 20 grand, it could be 30 grand, it could be 40 grand over 5 years or so, or 7 years or 10 years. You need
Yes.
to put and what the equivalent amount into um into teaching yourself and refreshing yourself and keeping yourself
Exactly.
energized
Finding your
as a
skills.
yeah, exactly, honing your skills as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
as a leader,
Yes.
as an employer, as a visionary, and as an event supplier.
Indeed.
Like, it's actually, I've learned now that it's actually non-negotiable. Like, whether
Yeah.
you get a mentor, a coach, or you attend classes or whatever,
Mm.
like, it's something that you have to do as part of the journey. Otherwise, you're just going to get deflated, demotivated, depressed. You're going to get slow, and you're going to fall away.
Absolutely.
And then whoever's the fresher, newer, more energetic competitor is going to end up replacing you, or at least getting ahead of you.
Indeed, you're absolutely right, because every time we need to keep on improving ourselves, our skills, our confidence, having a positive mindset, and really looking at how we can actually elevate and, improve and transform our own skills so that we can become more better. At the time we help other people and we, put so much energy into helping them, giving them value. But sometimes we tend to forget about us. We also need that as well. So it's important to keep on, refining and also, teaching ourselves and getting ourselves well into that skillful world, isn't it? So yes, absolutely. You know what, it's been such an amazing conversation, and this discussion could go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. However, we've come to a fantastic ending of this conversation, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on this platform today, and for really sharing, your journey, and also giving us lots of tips and advice on how, couples can actually speak to their vendors, how they can actually postpone their wedding, and also looking at the regulations, in regards to the government in terms of social distancing and all that stuff in terms of your wedding. And, it's been really amazing getting to know how you've been able to build such a phenomenal group, and you're still going, and some fantastic breaking news today on our platform. So thank you so much.
And the thing is, we're not just going, we're just getting started.
Exactly.
So we are going to become an industry household name. Everyone is going to know about the Elite Vendors Network in the next 5 years. And you heard that here first too.
Oh my God, it's amazing. So many breaking news today.
Exactly.
I'm super excited. How has it been for you being on this platform for the first time?
Yes, so being on this platform for the first time was great. Being interviewed was great, because I usually play your role. I usually I'm usually asking the questions, again, other people to answer. And obviously, as you can see, I have quite a bit to say for myself. But I do actually, and I can talk all day. But I actually do enjoy listening to others. So I think that actually goes back to one of the tips of what you do if you want to run your own group or network. Like, you have to. I think they say you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and the 2 ears are there for you to listen.
Yes.
So I always ask questions. I'm forever inquisitive, and I can talk a lot, but I also ask a lot of questions. That's how I get to know so many people, including yourself. So thank you very much for having me on here today. I appreciate this is my first feature since lockdown.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to forget that. And send me some snippets when you can, and I'll make sure I post it on my social media. Thanks to everyone that watched today. I loved it, and I can't wait to watch the rerun when it's ready.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Wishing you all the very best.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch for sure. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Hannah. You're very good at this, so keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye. Bye.